All right, hello everyone. It's Brett Matsura, and you guys are at Real Estate Objection Handling. So I hope you guys liked my new intro with the music and the countdown timer. So I'm always looking to level up. So I want everyone else who I talk to level up their lives, level up what they're doing. And so I'm always constantly trying to level up everything that I'm doing as well. I practice what I preach. I drink my own Kool-Aid. So in this video, we are talking about the common real estate objection. If we lower the price any lower, we won't have enough equity to move. Okay, that is a common problem. Maybe not in today's market. I think that we're probably getting to that point where it's going to become more and more prevalent. But, it is a problem. And as salespeople, here's the thing. We don't make money by selling houses. We make money just like any other salesperson, and that's by solving problems. And this is a big problem, right? If we sell our home, if we lower our price, if we go with the price that you suggest, then not going to have enough money to move. Okay, big problem. So we're going to break that down. Just like I do all the time, I break down common real estate objections using conversational selling. Okay, it's a two-way street. We don't want to come off salesy. Everybody's had a run-in with a sales professional that just is ABCing, always closing, always be closing. Okay, that may have worked in like 1987 and earlier, but in today's world with all these messages and with technology and everyone always being bombarded with sales messages, it's a conversation, it's a consulting. That's my position, that's where I'm at, and that's where I'm sticking to it. So here's the thing, guys. In this training, you're not going to get better unless you practice. That's 100% true in everything that you do in life. Your natural ability will only take you so long. So take this objection, take this breakdown, take this training, and work with this in your daily role play. If you're not role playing daily, then you're not increasing your skill set. You're winging it. So if you need a partner, go over to realestateroleplaying.com, sign up to be a member of the role-playing group, and we'll align you with one of our members across the country every single day. They show up, they role play, they get better, they're relentless, they close deals. So that's it for that. So let's break this down. So guys, like in every training, I always break down with the ultimate rebuttal formula. Now, the ultimate rebuttal formula is just a technique. It's not about the words. Communication, sales is not about the words. It's about how you say the words, your strategic pauses, your tempo, your voice fluctuation, all of that, your body language. And it's the way that you structure it. So we work on the structure. I don't do objections. I don't rebuttal objections identical any two ways. So I could do this training tomorrow and record this, and it's going to be somewhat the same, but it's going to be different. And that's how you need to do it, is because you're not going to be able to I'm not going to be able to teach you something magical that if somebody, you're like, okay, you're waiting, right? You're like sparring. You're waiting for, give me an objection, give me an objection. And then all of a sudden they give you the objection. And you're like, all right. And then you just go verbatim on what it is. It doesn't work that way. You've got to know you got to know the fundamentals. You got to break it down. And then you've got to rebuttal it based on the personality, based on the scenario, based on everything. But it has to come out clear and confident. And that's why you practice. So we're going to talk about the ultimate rebuttal formula. And in the ultimate rebuttal formula, it's all about acknowledging what they say, showing active listening. Okay. You ever have somebody that's looking at their phone? My wife yells at me all the time about this, so I'm guilty as charged. You ever have someone that's like looking off in the distance or looking off their phone? They're like, yep, sure. Right? They're not listening to you. Okay, you're not going to sell anybody. You're not going to strive confidence in the other party if you're not doing that. So a way to show that you're active listening is acknowledge what they're saying by repeating what they're saying. Then you're going to prove what they're saying. As you've heard me once, you've heard me a dozen times. Don't make these people wrong. You want to make your chances of getting a listing less, then share with the prospect why they're wrong. Doesn't mean that they're right, but just share with them that they're wrong. So you're going to prove. You're going to do a softener, and then you're going to ask a question. That's the structure that we're going to do in this. So let's go ahead. If we lower the price any lower, we won't have enough money to move. Okay, so let's acknowledge this. We're going to acknowledge this by saying exactly what they said in a frame of a question. Oh, so you think that by lowering the price, you won't have enough money to move. Now they might say, no, it's not thinking, we won't. Okay, so just so I understand, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what you're saying is that if you lower the price to market value, okay, look what I'm doing there, guys. What we're saying is that, look, if you're going to lower the price to market value, you won't have enough money to move, implying that they're overpriced. They're not stupid. Their conscious might not pick up on this, but their subconscious will, right? You have to make sure that you deliver that with confidence and with clarity, and it can't have any pauses, right? You can't be robotic and say, hold on, let me get out my script here. If you lower the price, you won't have enough money to move. Okay, that's not going to work. And that's why we practice. Okay, so Mr. and Ms. Seller, let me get this right. What I'm hearing you say is that if we list your price at market value, that you won't have enough money to move. I level shifted on that example, right? I didn't say if we lower the price. I said if we list your price at market value. If you offer your price home at market value, you're telling me that you're not going to have enough money to move. Am I understanding you correctly? So we showed active listening because we understood what they're talking about, but yet we also did a level shift to subconsciously let them know that they're overpriced. Now we're going to approve. Look, I totally understand. I totally understand your position. In fact, most homeowners, okay, this is where I'm grouping them in and making them right. Most homeowners are very conscious about the costs of selling and moving. Most are. Have you ever met a homeowner that's not concerned about price, about what they're going to net? Have you ever had a situation where you don't talk about your commission? The reason why we practice, the reason why I break down these objections on a daily basis is because these are common objections that will always come up. You're always going to talk about price. You're always going to talk about commission. You're always going to talk about the net that they're going to get. These are all important factors that you can't ignore. So not preparing for them, knowing about them and not preparing for them and practicing for them is negligent in your profession. You need to make sure that you have these down. There are certain objections that you just need to have a go-to response for, right? For me, if you guys have watched some of my past training, when price comes up, I always go back to, okay, well, what is it that you think is fair for another training? Go ahead back to my YouTube channel, go through my videos, and you'll find the one that I did the objections on the power of fair. I'll probably be doing another live one here pretty soon, but if you want to check that out, go to my YouTube channel and look at the history of everything. So look, I totally understand your position. In fact, most homeowners are very, very, very conscious about the cost of selling and moving. You can also throw in your experience. Hey, look, I totally get it. In the 2 decades that I've been selling homes, I've literally sold hundreds of homes in and around your area. I know this area very well, right? So you're dropping in your value proposition in what you're saying. I find that most homeowners, you can even say, I find that all homeowners, it's true. I find that all homeowners are very, very conscious about the costs of selling and moving. Now, is that true for you? Yeah, it is true for me. Okay. So if you don't mind me asking, that's my go-to softener. So while I have you on the phone, hey, so if you don't mind me asking, while I have you in front of me, hey, if you don't mind me, so because it's raining outside, if you don't mind me asking, doesn't really matter. My go-to is, hey, if you don't mind me asking, what would you do if you're unable to sell your home? Legitimate question. Guys, if you're having this conversation with someone that can't sell their home because they don't have enough equity, if they can't list at a price at what the market says, and they can't sell their home because they won't have an equity, the most logical question to ask is, what would you do if you're unable to sell this home? Is that an option? Remember, we solve problems. Is that an option? Next question I put on here, could you keep this home to buy and buy the next one? Look, could we rent this out and go and buy the next one? Could we turn this into an investment property, or can you start eliminating their options? Now, you shouldn't be going into a conversation unless you know their why and their when. Okay, if you don't know somebody's why or their when, why are they moving and when are they moving? Why is their motivation? and knowing when is the temperature gauge of their motivation. Right. Look, they might have a job transfer that starts in 12 months. Never seen that situation, but let's just go with it. Yeah, they have to move, but their motivation is going to be like this because they got this much time. People will always make their task expand to the amount of time allotted. So the truth is, if you have 12 months, you're not going to start working on it until 11 and a half months. That's just true. That's what, I did that in college. You have one whole semester to get a project done, and I get it hammered out in 2 weeks. I think you guys are probably, if you guys have never done that, then you guys aren't like me or my friends. So here's the thing. If you don't mind me asking, what would you do? What would you do? Well, no, Brett, we need to sell this home. Okay. Yeah. You need to sell this home because you're moving for a job transfer. You're downsizing, we got to play in the market on here as well. But you need to eliminate their options and really just try to figure it out for them, right? Just don't go into rebuttal and just go after your price. Find out the reason behind that and find out their motivation. Okay. Your job is to be a consultant. Yes, we're a sales profession. Yes, we get compensated by providing services and when a house sells, but you know what? We're in that unique industry that we're a fiduciary and we're there to help them solve a problem. And it's a big problem if they need to move, but yet they can't afford to buy the next one. So we need to find out what their game plan is, unless that. So we go into this. Okay. So Brett, I need to sell this home. Okay. So are you sure? Could we keep this and maybe turn it into a rental and then buy the next one? No, we need the proceeds from this house so that we can put it down on the next house. Okay. So what I'm hearing you say is that, if we sell it at market value, you can't afford it. You can't not sell it. And we need to, you can't keep this one and buy the next one. So are there any other options that you can see that we can do? So I'm not telling them anything. Remember, telling's not selling. You probably heard that a dozen times. The person who controls the conversation asks the questions. A consultant asks the questions. So that's what you're doing. You're asking the questions. Now, the next slide here. Look, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I've sold a lot of homes in my insert how many years you've been in the business. And my goal for helping you is to sell your home for the most money in the quickest amount of time with the least amount of hassle. Are we on the same page with that? Is your goal to sell your home for the most money in the quickest amount of time with the least amount of hassle? Well, yeah. Okay, so we're on the same page with that. Now let's go to the next one. Okay, so as your consultant, okay, so as your agent, okay, so as your real estate agent, okay, now you're assuming that you're going to get the job. Okay, so as your consultant, as your fiduciary, I have a duty to be honest with you. Is that okay if I'm honest with you? Well, yeah. Okay, as I see it, we have three options. Number one, sell the home that the market says it will sell for. Can you agree that's an option? Yes, Brett, that's an option. Okay, number two, we can list above what the market supports, and then we can risk the market changing, and we can change and risk chasing the market down in terms of time and money. We don't want to do that. No, Brett, we don't want to do that. Okay, or we keep the property on the market. I don't see any other three options. Do you? No, I don't see the options. Okay, what do you think would be the best option to get your home sold fast in the quickest amount of time with the least amount of hassle? Now, I have the marketing, I have the experience, I have the plan, but you know what? I am not a magician that I can sell a home for 20% over value. Now, that might happen because of the frenzy of the market, but if we go to the market listed above market value, we're not going to attract the necessary buyers who are willing to bid up. Someone might have a loan for $800,000 and they might be having another, $20K that they could put on top of that. But if you're listed at $820, they're probably not going to look at it. Would you? What do you mean? Well, would you go and look at properties that are overpriced, or are you going to look at the properties that you think that that the sellers are actually on planet Earth wanting to sell their home? Now, guys, the way that I talk, there are some of the things that I say. I believe in being an infotainer. Okay. You have to be informational, but you also have to throw some entertaining, some humor and some entertaining in it. So when you guys hear me say that in the history of forever, no homeowner on planet Earth, that's actually the way that I actually speak, because I want to have a serious conversation. I don't want to have that serious of a conversation. But this is a negotiation. Look, if you take a listing and you know it's not going to sell, it's your fault. Now, it's your fault because you took that listing, but make no mistake that seller is going to look at you and blame you. It's not going to be the price. It's going to be you. Well, my agent didn't do his job. Well, you're right. Your agent didn't do your job because the agent should have listed a price that would cause it to sell. Now, common thing that I get from real estate agents is like, okay, well, why don't I just take the listing and, if they have to sell, eventually they're just going to have to lower the price. True. That's true. And I think that's a viable strategy, but it should be a viable strategy that you should share with the seller. Okay. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, look, I'm willing to take the listing at this, but we need to make sure that we have a game plan of bringing it down to market value. And I'll do this for you. If in fact we list at this price and it sells, I will, adjust my compensation structure as such. However, if we adjust it, or if we do this, if we do that, then this is what that's going to be. Would that help you out? Would that make it easier for you to make a decision tonight? Yeah. Okay. Another question that you could ask. Okay. What would need to happen for us to get you what you want and we can get the home on the market? Is there anything we need to do? Well, we need to think about it. Okay. I totally get that you want to make the right decision. Most of the time when people say they need to think about it, it means that they have some lingering questions. So if you don't mind me asking, what specifically are the things that you're concerned about right now? That was like a training that I did a few videos back. So if you want to hit into I need to think about it, go to my YouTube channel. It's easy. Go to YouTube, type in Brett Matsura. It'll pop up. Got tons of videos there. So anyways, guys, that's how you handle this objection, right? That's how you handle, let's go back to it. If we lower the price any lower, we won't have enough equity to move. Now, what would happen if you don't get it? Well, I'm just going to stay. Okay, there goes the motivation. Guys, don't list a property with somebody who just says that, I'm either going to get what I want or I'm going to die in the property, because chances are they're going to die in the property. Because as the market goes up, so does their top line. Rarely, and I can't remember a time, but I'm just assuming that there has been a time. I've sold a lot of houses. Rarely has there been a time that somebody who doesn't need to sell, and if they don't sell, they'll just keep the property indefinitely. Rarely have I ever been able to, as the prices go up, so does their, it's like a moving target. So if you don't have motivation, there's a lot of motivation in this market. There's a lot of benefit in this market right now. Right now, a seller who sells their home is selling at the top of the market in the history of forever. 100% probability. So another thing that I do. So, all right, guys. So I'm going to finish here. If you enjoy this training, if this helped you out, right now, if you're part of the role-playing group, this is the objection of the day. Go ahead and get off and go and role-play this out with your partner. But if you're here just checking things out, if this is something you like, like or subscribe to the channel, depending on what platform you're on. Help me get this out to the algorithm and share these words of wisdom to other like-minded individuals. And, if you need that role-play partner, look, realestateroleplaying.com. It's probably the most reliable, probably the biggest, but the most reliable role-playing for real estate in North America. So anyways, guys, that's what I got for today. Thank you for watching, and, get out there, go on some appointments, list some houses, and we'll talk to you guys later. Take care.